Michigan, born and raised with Midwestern values and Michigan common sense.
Traveling in a freighter combi on a hippie trailhead full of
It's a free-for-all Friday, and I will tell you the truth. With Governor Snyder there, he caught me off guard, and I'm not surprised very often in this job, but I was surprised when he made the comment. I vetoed it once, and I'd veto it again, referring to this guns everywhere, this concealed carry legislation that's making its way through the state legislature. The deal is that the Republicans, I believe, thought he was going to support this measure. Now, I got a note from listener Tony Dougal in Kalamazoo, listening to WKMI down there, and he said, I love your show, but you missed an opportunity to challenge Governor Snyder about the gun bill. He wants a local option about concealed carry in schools. Does he also think that local communities can decide which state laws they'd like to follow, which ones they don't want to follow, can make up their own laws and rules as they go, which are contrary to state law? How far does local control go? Good question, Tony. Our first caller here, regular contributor to the program, a guy involved in the process, to say the least, Senator Rick Jones. State Senator Rick Jones here with us, a person who supports Mike Green's legislation. Senator, welcome to the program, of course.
Good morning.
So this local option thing, I won't kid you, it surprised me when I heard him say it, and he said it very clearly. If you don't give schools a local option, and I'm going to say Ann Arbor schools specifically to begin with, because they're the ones that have been having this battle back and forth about open carry, concealed carry, so on and so forth. If you give a local option, what is the point of the legislation? I mean, there would be no point to it, is there?
No, and really the big problem is right now, people are very upset in this state because of an old law that allows open carry, and somebody can strap on a gun like a cowboy and walk into a school. Obviously, that upsets everybody. They end up shutting the school down, locking everybody down, calling the police. Very disruptive. So we in the Senate, the majority of us, want to end that and allow safe, concealed carry only by licensed individuals that have been all checked out, taken a class, and we think that is a better option. We have the votes to do that. Unfortunately, we have a governor that simply doesn't agree.
Does this surprise you? Because every indication that I'd had until this point, in other conversations I've had with you and other senators and the governor himself, until this very comment, I was under the impression that, yes, he vetoed the measure back in December of 2012, but you made some changes so that it would be more to his liking, and yet today he declares he'll veto it again.
Frankly, no, it doesn't surprise me. I respect the governor. I agree with him in many things. He has helped bring more jobs to the states. I've worked with him on many things, but on this, we simply disagree. Is
there anything you believe that could be done on your side, now that you've heard him say it right out in the open in front of everybody? Is there anything you believe you could do with Mike Green or any of the other lawmakers that could massage this bill in some way to make it palatable to him?
No, I don't believe so. I think he's fixed on this idea. Certainly, that's the Ann Arbor view. I think it's unfortunate. The only way that the law will change now would be an override. So unless that happens, we're simply going to continue to have schools and children and teachers scared by people that walk in open carry. I don't agree with open carry in schools. I don't think it's needed, and I would like to see it end.
But right now, it's legal. Let's just so we're clear on that. It's fully legal.
Yes, I want to make sure everybody understands, under an old Michigan law, it's legal right now, and we're trying to end it and replace it with concealed carry. And I also want to make sure everybody understands about churches, because that has been misrepresented in many media sources. You may carry in a church concealed right now if the church allows it. A church is private property, so each church makes their own decision.
All right. Well, Senator, I greatly appreciate you listening to the program and chiming in. I do, and I guess we'll see where it goes from here. But I think the governor has drawn his line in the sand here today on this program. I appreciate it, Senator.
Have a great morning.
Senator Rick Jones, everybody. Apparently the governor says if this bill arrives on his desk in its form, it will be vetoed, and that is it. So the governor making news here today on the Steve Gruber Show, declaring that he will veto this concealed carry bill. Let's continue at the hotline. Lines will be open all day now, 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. We will start with Dan in Grand Rapids. Dan, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Steve. I want to make a comment about the governor's idea about all these Middle Eastern refugees coming into the state and what a boon it would be to our economy. I think the governor doesn't have his head in the clouds. He's got his head somewhere a lot lower. Now, if we look at, first of all, the state's going to have to supply them with a place to stay. That's going to cost money. Food stamps, money. Aid to dependent children, money. Then we're going to flood all these kids into our school. They're non-English speaking. These people don't have the same kind of culture that we have. They don't look at a constitution like we have as the law. They go for Sharia law. And if the governor wants to bring all these people in, I think the first ones ought to go and stay at his house instead of being spread around the state, causing all this expense and trouble. These people come here because they know they have a free ride and they can be taken care of with free medical and all these other benefits. And it really, I'm fed up with this.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate you checking in, Dan. The hotline number here, Free for All Friday, 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. The governor saying he will welcome with open arms refugees from the Middle East. But I do think the big news of the morning is him saying that he will veto this concealed carry legislation, which means the chaos will continue in places like Ann Arbor and elsewhere because open carry will remain legal. And this does not solve the issue. And as you heard Senator Rick Jones chime in here, that's not going to change. They're not going to take that provision out. They're not going to give local control to Ann Arbor or anyone else. Either it's state law or it's not. Pat is on the line in Lansing today. Pat, welcome to the program.
Hi. Hey, I just wanted to, it was actually Al, but I wanted to comment on him as well, on the governor as well. You know, it really gets me every time I hear him talking about new taxes. He calls it new revenue. You know, I guess that sounds better to the useful idiots. But he said that he does not want to force anyone that to have guns in a gun-free zone if they don't want them there. But he had no problem forcing us to pay new taxes, gas taxes, and fees on our plates, you know, even after we voted against it. I just heard that on the radio that somebody's doing a recall on him because of the Flint water crisis there. And I would sign it just because he ran as a Republican when he's really a liberal.
Well, and, you know, you're not the only person to say that, Pat. A lot of people are, well, not happy with the governor, to say the least, but that's, you know, good conversation to have here and figure out, you know, what our thoughts are here and there. So I appreciate you checking in. Now, we've got a couple more calls on the line. We're going to get to those in just a moment. That phone number is 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. What do you make of the governor's plan to tax you more? You know, it's like, it's, how much was it? Several dollars on a fill-up, you know. I mean, as you fill up, and over time, 7.3 cents adds up. And is the money really going to get used for roads this time? We'll find out. 888-900-9966. Free for All Friday on the Steve Gruber Show.
Keeping you in touch with Michigan and the world.
All right, welcome back to the Steve Gruber Show Free for All Friday edition. The hotline number, 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. What do you think about the governor? Governor Rick Snyder appearing here just a short time ago. By the way, if you ever miss a conversation or a guest or something you want to go back and listen to, no problem. SteveGruber.com is the place for you, SteveGruber.com. Go there, click the previous programs, find the podcast. You can listen to the whole show, or you can pick a specific interview like my conversation with the governor. Let's start with Barb in Rives Junction. Barb, welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I'm I am wonderful. Governor Snyder, I think he's a genius. Let the people vote on it in the locales. If something goes on, there's a shooting, those people voted on what they wanted. Let the people speak. I think he's a genius on that. But on the immigration,
you think? Hold on.
From 1924 to 74 because we had to give people a chance to assimilate.
Hold on, Barb. I got a question for you there. You say that you think it's a good idea for local control on the gun law?
Yes.
Well, why would
everybody should have?
Why wouldn't we have local control on everything else then? Why can't we just local communities can pick and choose what state laws they want to follow?
Well, I think that we need to change everything. We need to downsize the government, and we need to start all over and get our country back and make America great again.
I don't disagree with you.
And the gun thing, I'm not into gun control, but if Snyder does that, they're going to use it against the Republicans. The Republicans did this. They still blame stuff on Engler, and he hasn't been in how many years?
All right, fair enough. Okay, carry on. What was your next point, real quickly?
Well, on the immigration, people need to assimilate that, and this is not America anymore. We need to take our country back. We need borders. We need not to have just mass immigration into this country. People need to come in the way we've been doing it for years.
Well, fair enough.
Not just like a herd of cows.
A herd of cows.
And the governor needs to understand that.
All right, Barb. I greatly appreciate you checking in. Let's continue down the line. Dan is on the line in Weberville. Dan, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ms. Gruber. How are you?
I'm well, sir. What's up?
One quick comment on immigration also, as the lady before me. I understand when immigration made our country great. My relatives were immigrants from Ireland and England. My biggest problem I have, he talks about how great it'll be for our community and for the state in the whole. Well, what about, and these are not exact numbers, but 1 in 5 children we have to go into bed every night hungry. The tens of thousands of people in the state of Michigan that we have that are kids that are going to bed hungry and homeless every night. My point is, why are we not taking care of what we have already before we add to it?
I think that's a very fair point, Dan. There are tens of thousands of kids in this state that have needs, and that's my point on a lot of things. And you talk about it. Let me give you another point. Dan, thank you for calling. Another point is this. Why is it that we are willing to give illegal aliens a better treatment than we do veterans? I mean, how does that make sense to anybody? You know, I don't care what political party you're from. That's criminal. Judy on the line in Lansing today. Judy, welcome to the show.
Hi. I never make these phone calls, but I was so upset when I heard that phone call or that radio program this morning because I voted for Snyder, and I'm very disappointed and angry at the things that he's doing. I'm especially angry with him bringing all these people to over on the other side of Detroit there, because there's places over there that Michiganders are afraid to even go in anymore. They're told they're not even allowed to go in there because of what's going on over there. And I really think these people should be assimilated. We should be sending people over there to help them assimilate in their own country, because they need that over there. And they don't want to come here and be Americans. They want to come here and change America.
Well, fair enough, Judy, and I greatly appreciate your call today, and there's a lot of truth to that. And, there's a lot of people that are concerned, and that's why I asked me, legitimate concerns. He says, yeah, there's legitimate concerns, but at the end of the day, he kind of swept those aside. 888-900-9966, Larry from Perry on the line. Welcome back to the program.
Morning, great Gruber. It's good to talk to you. He's nuts about immigration.
So that's it, flat out nuts.
Yeah, and the thing with the guns, yeah, Governor Snyder wants to, with, what was it, immigration or whatever, the gun thing, to have locales vote on it. Yeah, he's real big on local vote until the ball doesn't bounce his way.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
With the road bill.
Yeah, what do you think of that, by the way, going back and getting it done, even though the vote was more than 4-1 against higher taxes and so forth, and the bill gets signed anyway. What's your take on that, Larry?
So much for the vote.
Yeah, so much for the vote. I'll give you that. Larry, thanks for checking in, my friend. All right, the hotline number is 888-900-9966 on WFNT in Flint. That's where Philip is listening this morning. He's on the hotline. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Steve. One of the things the governor said that really surprised me was he said the state was finally going to have its long-term debt paid off by, what did he say, 2038. The question I would have asked him is, because people were talking about him running for the presidency, is how long does he think the federal government is going to have a debt like that, and when might they ever pay that off? But on some of the other things, I think maybe maybe if the federal government's not going to have some kind of mandatory service, or draft or anything, maybe they should have that on the statewide thing. And then if you do it in the state, you might earn your first 2 years of college or something.
Well, here's the thing. The fact of the matter is he's talking 23 years down the road to pay off the debt. Does anybody really believe that 23 years from now we're going to be addressing the debt that was put into place by a governor that 23 years from now nobody actually really remembers? Come on. We're smarter than that. 888-900-9966. We got room for a couple of more calls after one more quick break. If you want to find out more, if you want to go back and listen to the governor's interview with me, that's an easy thing to do, stevegruber.com. And if you want to know what's coming up on shows to keep in touch with the governor's interview and so forth, go to Facebook, find the Steve Gruber Show, click like. You'll be in the loop like all your friends. And if they're not in the loop, make sure you tell your friends. Free for All Friday on the Steve Gruber Show. Welcome back to it. Time to, I needed some friends from north of the bridge to give me some common sense input from the Upper Peninsula. Thank God. My boys chimed in. Scott, you're first in Iron Mountain. Go.
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
Doing good, my friend. What do you think?
Hey, when they raise the gas tax, guess what Wisconsin's going to get from me?
What?
16,000 gallons of diesel fuel a year.
How far do you have to drive from Wisconsin? Yeah, how far do you have to drive? Just right across?
I just run 200 miles, 500 miles a day.
Right, but I mean, how far to go get your gas in Wisconsin?
Oh, about 50 miles, maybe 2 miles, whatever gas station got the cheapest fuel. But I'm going to buy it all in Wisconsin now. I'm not going to buy none in Michigan anymore.
Well, and why would you? Why would you pay that price? All right, Scott, thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. And time for last call, also from the UP. My good friends of the UP checking in. David Nagani to close it out for this Free for All Friday. Welcome to it.
Hey there. Listen to that guy earlier talk about how immigration creates 1.2 American jobs. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? Putting criminals in prison creates jobs, too. Doesn't mean we should allow crime.
See? Now, that's the kind of UP common sense we need around here. You see what I'm saying?
And on the tail end, I think Snyder's turning into Angler's last term, too. I mean, he's doing all the things that nobody wants him to do. This gas tax thing, everybody in Michigan is livid except for the liberals. And wait, this is the liberal thing that the Republicans are doing. This makes no sense.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Dave, thanks for stopping in. And I greatly appreciate it. We needed some UP common sense right there. Prisons, they create jobs. Do we want more crime? Well, no, not exactly, but that's kind of the way, the way people think these days, you wouldn't be surprised. Anyhow, what a terrific week it has been here on the program, and I owe it all to you. We have some new affiliates we're going to tell you about next week here, so the reach of the program is getting even bigger. Some new affiliates to tell you about next week. I want to say thank you to our executive producer, Ivy Gruber, my wife. She's also the executive producer. Rob Burkhart, the associate producer who calls Greater Grand Rapids his home. Alex Clark is the engineer. He's the guy down there driving this train in the basement of this building. And for all of us here at the Steve Gruber Show, thank you. Have a great weekend. Don't miss the weekend edition, and we'll talk soon.